Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 is apparently pretty good. Apparently Warhammer fans are happy with it, so you kind of love to see that. But we're not here to read about that. We're here to read bait threads on the Steam forums. Offend with the first thread titled Straight Dookie. Y'all tripping if you think this hearts is good. First reply, Red writes, Real. I do not understand what the hype is about. 6 missions and all you do is interact with objects and kill the same 5 enemies again and again. Mems.bat writes, Dark Tide is better. Changed my mind. Vascor writes, Hey, it's not the best game out there, but it sure was enjoyable. You a massive 40k fan? If not, then yeah, you might not get the kick out of it as I did. Mr. Soul winds up finding himself in the Warhammer forums, writes Brainworms. Red replies to Vascor, calling him a nerd. Zarko writes, This might get a page or 2, but I think it's too lazy for jesters. We'll see. And he was gestured for it. Flames Icon writes, Game is a 9 out of 10 easily, lol. Valium pointing out that OP doesn't even own the game, yet is here trying to say something he hasn't even played is bad. Is that true? Did I miss that? Oh, he did. Yeah, he doesn't. You don't own the game, Offend. You gotta buy the game to talk trash, bud. CH462 Ace writes, Man, you gotta try, bruh. How are you gonna post a bait thread and do the same thing like the 900 other people? SMH, do better, lil bro, but jester farming isn't for everyone. I want to agree with Chase here, but anybody that writes this in their posts or in their anything that they write, I just want to disagree with them by default, because I just translate this in my head into I am upset. That's what this means to me. So sorry, Chase, you didn't make it. Offend the OP replying to Valium writes, Install Colageddon. Use the older version of Steam. Family share. Once that's an IP address. Nice car. How's the wife? Got him, Offend. You got him right where you want him. Mazik comes up with a solution, writes, Don't you people play multiple games at the same time? I got such a backlog of games on my PC, PS5, PSVR 2, and Switch. Once you get bored of a game, go play another one for a few days and then come back when you get the urge to play SM2 again. There is nothing in this game for you to FOMO about, so there's no rush. Put 100 hours into it right away. Lord Anubis replies to the OP and writes, Unhide your owned games and let's see what you like to play, or STFU. The OP replies to that and says, Chill bro, I'm not like that for... Filtrate writes, Skill issue. Red putting out some bait on page 2 writes, Why play this garbage slogfest 10-hour game of repetitive garbage when you could spend your time doing something productive like playing League of Legends and actually increasing your thinking capabilities, reflexes, and teamwork skills? This game doesn't improve any of your core abilities, unlike League of Legends. That's pretty good, Red. That's pretty good. This should be its own thread, not 2 pages in. Then you might get some jesters for your trouble. The Grand Mugwump putting his foot down and saying, I'd rather be trippin' than be a hater. Fractal writes, I bought the gold edition like a dumb clown. I feel like I should be put in those stockades they used to use back in the day as punishment. Now, there's a lot of people in this thread that just don't like the game, but that might be a little misleading because I think people that actually like the game are playing it, so we're just left with the people complaining about it. Crispy Cream McDonald's writes, Imagine crying over a video game so hard that you go to the community discussions to complain instead of just not playing it, lol. Now go down for dinner your mom made. Got him! Spank Bank writes a well thought out wall of text about why he doesn't like the game. Offend replies to that and said, Couldn't have said it better myself. You like cute. What's your number, babe? Gimli writes, After playing through the campaign and completing every available operation mission so far, I must say that I personally enjoyed it. The first game that came out in 2011 is fun AF, but the sequel is for sure a step up IMO. Gave off some pretty good nostalgia. Offend claims that only absolute baboons would like this game. Mad Max replying to Offend writes, I pull more women than you every day of the week. I also have fast car. Sit down, boy. Red replies to that and says, Ara, more like you are a Offend writes, yeah, but I'm Challenger on League, GM on Overwatch, Ascendant on Val. I think we know who won, buddy. Gimli asks Offend, what in particular bothers you by chance? Offend writes, IDK, I just hate the game. Well, this thread has been fun, but I think we're gonna move on. Warrantine starts a new thread titled, Holy Smokes, What a Game. Best multiplayer campaign I've played in the last 10 years. Absolutely a masterpiece with the story and visuals. Thank you. I'm glad to see the massive success the game has obtained. Spank Bank, who has not purchased the game with what I assume is a copy pasta telling people to not waste your money on the game. Grifter writes, funniest post ever. Good one. Tutu, Whiteheart, TM, Blackheart, she, her, with an hour-old thread, farmed 2 jesters. Tutu writes, corporative slop with anti-womanist propaganda deserve $5 at best, refunded. Now, don't get me wrong, the game is fun. If its price tag was like $5 to $10. I know it's a common marketing technique to overprice garbage expansions because the title is very popular, so there's no loss if you make a bad game. Normies will always fall back to the past good memories of the title's times and say trash equals good and won't ever think of refunding to have the misleading sense of completion that at least they got the title's games, so they didn't actually waste money. I get it, but it's wrong to exploit people, especially fans of your creation. How did the developers not feel bad when they look at the price of this early access game? Actually, they did. But the men in charge of the title that smoke dollar signs on the daily basis at their corporative slop office decided to overprice it because apparently 4 yachts in their possession evidently aren't enough for them. They need more. The game has no unlocks. There really isn't anything new. They unironically thought 6 lazily made operations is good enough of a reason to make the game cost $70. In order to acquire gear for every single class, you have to complete 30 borderline boring missions with the same environment and encounters. Yachts, yawn, we need more of them. Cash grab, cash grab, cash grab. They will justify their money wasted because look, we stole and put 4K graphics in our game, and there is also like medium quality of voice acting with yawn, but poor dialogues for good measures as well. I would be surprised if it wasn't their thought process. I'm not even talking about PvP. It has like 3 modes and 3 maps. LOL. They were only here for your money. Here in Canada, it's already a struggle to find a mid-household for a good price. Now we don't even have access to entertainment too because everything is deliberate heart emoji overpriced. Choose it between living and playing video games? As a Canadian woman, it is also a direct insult the devs purposely excluded femininity from the primary cast of characters, like the Emperor and his Primarchs. I can't do this. I can't get through this. Oh my god. Okay, I gotta try this again. As a Canadian woman, it's also a direct insult the devs purposely excluded femininity from their primary cast of characters, like the Emperor and his Primarchs, the Astartes in their chapters, and many of the from their game. Did you know womanism also benefits men? It liberates them from toxic masculinity that restricts them on the individual basis by eradicating stereotypes from public life entirely that don't only hurt women, but men as well. Strengthen their emotion intelligence, for instance. And then this person posts a link to a Guardian article. Oh no. Guys, should we go to the Guardian and learn about how womanism benefits men? I think we'll save that for next time, guys. I think we're gonna skip this. In short, literally every gender is happier in equal society. I love heart radfem heart, and the fact I'm trans changes nothing on those who are exclusive. I would feel this way too if I was cisgender. I don't blame them. Don't get me wrong. I believe their hatred is just a mere misconception that can and should be fixed. I believe we can establish a healthy connection with them by adequately reacting to their logical concerns instead of hating on them. Don't you want less transphobes in the world? And inclusive radical womanists exist. Not all of them are TERFs. Put yourself in their shoes if you disagree with me. Anyways, enough with off topic. Refunded. And as for you, you, my curious reader. Save your money until sale. Refund if you can, or skip. Thumbs down. First reply, dwarf. I'll be taking your clowns, thank you very much. Tutu, the OP, replies to dwarf and says, see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Stands gaslight themselves so much they think any negative connotations about their objectively garbage game is bait. Grow up. Valium writes, maybe this game just isn't for you. I don't go to Animal Crossing game forums and demand they add violence. Well, maybe there's something to be said about that. Mad Max saw him in a different thread, says, give me the clowns instead. I'm actually gay. Thanks for sharing, bud. Chase the Pyro, killing all the fun, writes, if y'all can't spot the obvious engagement bait, I don't know how to help you. Well, I'm just thinking about that one Concord thread where the guy said, this is bait, by the way, and then people still were replying in earnest. So this is just never gonna happen. Dr. Peppy-chan writes, you're insane, LeMayo. Take your femtard ideology somewhere else. And for my fellow brothers, for the Emperor! Tutu replies to that and says, sorry, I think women shouldn't be S-worded. Hurt, assaulted, and exploited. Frowny face. Verdeth writes, sounds like real-life skill issues to me. Tutu replies to that and says, I agree. It's a skill issue the devs couldn't deliver a $70 product, but $5 one instead. General Kenobi writes, I don't give a flying heart. Heart off and go play something else. You know, I've been like periodically checking in on these forums, and like there are hundreds of these every day that are basically saying the same thing, just trying to bait you to send them clowns so they can get Steam points. And yet people still reply to them in earnest. Like the meta could not be any clearer. It could not be any more obvious, and it's more obvious by the day what's going on. Volo writes, if you're poor, you're poor. No need to write an essay about it. Mr. Man writes, let me just save the next person who finds this thread the trouble. Canadian with pronoun BS winging about economy of their country in their essay review. Trans pandering in their essay. Delusions of grandeur. Terrible's takes standard of anyone from obviously dying side. Monk writes, troll or ill-informed college student wasting money on a degree they'll never make use of? I wonder what it could be? Not that it matters. Neither say anything worth listening to. Have a nice day. You know, there's no actual discussions about the game in here. It's all just metagame about the nature of the forums. Sergeant Giggle Mittens replying to the OP writes, equality is a false god and we refuse to worship your new age cult. Valium writes, I don't know how Valve will solve the problem, but it is a problem. Of the discussion board of new games with nothing but trolls, pretending either a game is too woke or not woke enough. Yeah, there's a lot of people that think that Steam Awards, specifically the Jester Award, is a mistake. Despite Steam points being basically worthless, like they don't actually do anything. Like there's no financial incentive to farm Steam points. You can buy like emotes and profile banners and stuff with them, but if you've owned Steam for more than a few years and you have a bunch of games, like you probably have more Steam points than you'll ever realistically spend in your life ever. Like I bought pretty much everything I wanted in the store and it didn't even make a dent in my Steam point hoard, so I don't know. Not really about the Steam points, it's more about the number going up and the message. It's more about you get a reward for trolling even if the reward is meaningless. Anyway, I guess if you own the game, that you're gonna be just playing the game, while everybody that doesn't own the game is just gonna be having fun posting on the forums. Maybe that's the new meta. Miss Reeps writes, no moderators, thumbs up. Dark Lord 21 writes, okay, OP is a clown, we already confirmed it, but wouldn't be surprised if OP was working for SBI, because that's something one of this brain-dead heretics would say. All right, this is done. Next thread, Psychic Pebbles starts a new thread, farmed 19 jesters, a slow clap, a hilarious, and a couple other rewards, with a new thread titled, warning, this game is a total disaster. Prepare for an epic rant. All right, let's get this straight. I've been slogging through the Warhammer community for a solid 2 years now, and it's beyond infuriating how the game still has a grotesque lack of femininity in its main characters. I'm talking about the Emperor, his Primarchs, and the Astartes. Basically, everyone who matters in the lore. It's like they took a look at the 90s and said, yeah, let's keep that medieval mindset. It's disgusting and outdated. Many of you would say the following: oh great, so now we have to cater to the basics of female inclusivity, which, by the way, is a given at this point. But let's not stop there. Apparently, we also need to overhaul everything to include sexual inclusivity. Because clearly, if Warhammer lore and the Astartes don't feature every single possible sexuality, it's like, do we really need to bend over backward for every conceivable orientation to make up for the fact that this fantasy universe isn't a woke utopia? Psychic Pebbles, now back in character. The entire universe is just a bland, outdated mess. Get real. Honestly, I can't believe we're even having this discussion. It's absurd that some people are still clinging to outdated, istophobic traditions from the 90s. We need to grow up as a community and face the fact that this is a live service game where anything can change. If you can't handle a serious, strong, united community dialogue on this, maybe you're part of the problem. It's about time they stopped pandering to the old guard and finally added female Astartes. Get over it. Edit. Wow, the Jester Awards? Seriously? They only highlight your own pathetic ignorance and inability to engage in a real conversation. Keep proving my point, geniuses. It's a little long. Well, I guess it's not that long, but I do like the fact that he bolded words and then underlined words to emphasize them, telling people to grow up and get over it. This is pretty good. This is pretty good. I will give Psychic Pebbles credit. This is quality. He clearly put the work in. This is not like he just phoned it in and said, just give me my jesters. This took a little bit of effort. He was rewarded with some jesters and some other awards. 333 trying to ride on Psychic Pebbles' coattails. He writes, I can't believe the absolute travesty that is the new Warhammer game. It's like the developers took everything that could go wrong and cranked it up to 11. First off, let's talk about optimization, or should I say the complete lack thereof. The game runs like a snail on tranquilizers, no matter how powerful your rig is. Frame drops, crashes, and loading times that feel like an eternity are just the tip of the iceberg. It's 2023, yet playing this game feels like a throwback to the dark ages of gaming. It's 2023, guys, get real. In current year 2023, we demand better. In summary, the new Warhammer game is an unoptimized, bigoted piece of garbage that should never have seen the light of day. It's a slap in the face to both longtime fans and newcomers alike. If you haven't bought it yet, do yourself a favor and steer clear. This game is a disgrace to the Warhammer name. You're gonna have to try a little bit harder, 333. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to ride on Psychic Pebbles' coattails, but it's got to be a little bit more digestible. But I do like this. This line had promise right there, because that hints that it's just a lazy copy pasta from, I don't know, some paste bin or something. Chaos $signs writes, I too want to be a clown farmer, but I don't want to put in any effort. Frowny face. Well, you might have a bright future ahead of you, Chaos, because you got 2 gestures to show for it. Princess Luna writes, Kyo crying woke we playing. Psychic Pebbles writes, the classic keep crying woke defense. It's almost like you missed the point entirely. Enjoy your subpar, outdated game while the rest of us push for something better. Just because you're content with mediocrity and exclusion doesn't mean the rest of us should be. Have fun playing in your little bubble. See, this is how it's done. I want to point something out. That lumping progressive ideology in with criticisms of the game as though they're the same thing. So by saying, yeah, you're content with mediocrity and exclusion, this is how you get jesters right here. With just kind of moderate, I don't want to say moderate, but it's not like complete mask off, like totally trolling, total rage bait. It's just a little bit of subtle progressivism that you're lumping in with the game. That's how you get jesters right here. So this is well done, in my opinion. By Psychic Pebbles, well done. You deserve those jesters, sir. The rank below bronze writes, this is the same person posting that the game needs microtransactions and swearing that it's not a rage bait post. Save your clown awards. Let a mod ban this person. Oh no, bronze, no, bro, it's not gonna happen. Jannies are not banning anybody like this. Psychic Pebbles replies, wow, talk about jumping to conclusions. First off, I never said the game needs microtransactions. I pointed out that they're becoming an industry norm, whether we like it or not. I would love to go find that thread. If you actually read my post instead of reacting impulsively, you'd see that my concerns are about inclusivity and optimization, not pushing for more in-game purchases. Yes, he did it again. Inclusivity and optimization. Look at that. You are watching a master at work. As for the rage bait accusation, it's pretty clear you're more interested in discrediting me than engaging in any meaningful discussion. The clown awards and calls for a ban are just a way to shut down opinions you don't agree with. If you have a counter argument, let's hear it. Otherwise, throwing around baseless accusations and calling for mods to ban people is just a weak attempt to silence dissenting voices. We can have different opinions without resorting to this kind of behavior. Let's focus on making the game better for everyone, not tearing each other down with a thumbs up. You know, part of me is really happy to see like this really smug, Dunning-Kruger condescending tone being adopted by trolls like this. I don't know if I can quite put my finger on what this is, but you know it when you hear it, and this has definitely got that that Redditor tone, if you know what I mean. The rank below bronze gives a clown to Chaos $. Purple Mage swallows the bait in one bite. Mick Dingle Fart writes, he's just spamming this forum for comment awards. Really? I guess this isn't the most obvious I've ever seen. It's probably not even in the top 10. They're way more mask off than this, but I mean, come on. Somebody writes get real in bold. They're baiting you, bro. It's bait. I guess the most obvious bait I've seen was the not bait post. Maybe we should go look for that and see how that's doing on awards. We'll see how, what's his name? Perfect Pixel, whatever that guy's name was. We'll see what his total amassed Steam awards ended up being. Psychic Pebbles responding to somebody that says to block and report. He writes, you do realize you're a human. You don't have to be in this thread. No one is holding you hostage. Just don't read it and move on instead of sitting here and derailing my thread. This guy just writes like somebody that spent a lot of time on Reddit and then I guess moved on to better social media, but he retained the skill of sounding as condescending, as smug, and as self-satisfied as possible. This is really good. Like the subtleties, oh man, if you're mad and you read this, you wouldn't notice the subtleties, but the subtleties would make you more mad as you read it. I'm a Psychic Pebbles fan. I know he got a jester for this, and I think he deserves it because this is very good work. I can appreciate a good troll, and Psychic Pebbles is one. Aegis writes, a game for everyone is a game for no one. Angelus Mortis writes, just report for trolling and starting arguments. Unfortunately, Sir Mortis, there's something called Poe's Law that exists, so that is not going to happen. Tux writes, while people with sub 100 IQ absolutely have the right to have opinions, I'm under no obligation to be interested in them. Cool Coo draws an ASCII art Pepe punching the camera. Psychic Pebbles writes, what kind of a dog whistle is this? Oxygen is for everyone, so that would mean it's for no one? Yes. Psychic Pebbles double posting. He writes, no one is doing this though. You, for some reason, think I'm trolling or starting arguments when you're the one who's coming towards me with hostile intent. Hostile intent. Smulio writes, lol, this is 100% a false flag attempt to drive controversy. Nice roleplay. No actual progressive cares. Psychic Pebbles replies, take your meds. Jinx the World replies in earnest. He writes, we need more games like this. This game is about brotherhood, courage, and honor. Stoicism is a thing that we have been missing from games nowadays, and as a guy, I love this game. It's okay that this game is not your cup of tea. You are more than allowed to not play this game. This game was not made for you. It was made for people like me. Have a good day. Nows writes, this is very low quality bait that was played around since 2 weeks constantly. Please stop already. It's boring. And then he replies to it in earnest, as though it wasn't bait. This is why they do it, boys. Seth writes, I feel like OP is messing with my head, man. Putting smoke into my freaking head, man. I don't know what to think no more, man. Get out of me head, man. Get out of me head. That's a pop culture reference. I don't recognize it. Kakashi writes, hold up. Let OP cook. Ubisoft put 6% of their development budget into LGHD TV QNP Plus inclusion. They are leading the gaming world into the light, and it's time for other companies follow. This is 2024, not 1942. Jake writes, brain dead Yank who wants to force his brain dead internet views around the world. 333, back again with another attempt, writes, can you quit being istophobic? And he was not gestured for that. Just keep trying, 333. You can do it, bud. Psychic Pebbles writes, holy unfunny. Here's your updoot with a blue up arrow. That's very nice. That's very good. Princess Luna writes, too long to read. TLDR, you can stop playing. Psychic Pebbles replies, you don't even own the copy of the game. I own the Ultra Edition. Please don't engage with this thread tourist. Psychic Pebbles with another Reddit tier wall of text about inclusivity. Sandpaper writes, this is some high tier bait. I agree with this. This is not low quality or low tier or bad. This is very well done and high effort. The author of this thread has indicated that this post answers the original topic. Captain Furious writes, this guy needs to make it less obvious he's using his alt accounts. Same writing as the other bait threads, same title format, same edit regarding gestures, same type of answer picked every time. And he got picked. He's talking about the tone. It's the tone of the smug, condescending Redditor. It's the self-appointed intellect who just thinks he's the smartest man in the room. And whatever tone Psychic Pebbles is able to very accurately mimic or emulate in his posts, which really gets people riled up. It really upsets people. Simon Red writes, biggest bait post ever made. I mean, if you're serious, you need to seek professional help. It's actually not the biggest bait post ever made. We're gonna get to that in a second. Make Dad Stop writes, I already got the game. There's no reason you have to convince me further. Oh man, Psychic Pebbles in the OP, I missed a line. He said he's been in the Warhammer community for a solid 2 years now. So he's an authority figure. He's been in the fandom for 2 years, guys. He knows what he's talking about. We should listen to him. It's the same energy as I've been trolling on B since 2019. Oh, anyway, I was gonna read Power Wank's post. He says, be mad. We don't care. Seriously, throw all the tantrums and stampy feet you can as loud as you can until you go blue in the face. We really don't care at all. Either quit or try and find something you actually like. Thanos writes, go play Barbies. Kakashi trying to get on the bait train. Well, I have some bad news. I could not dig up the original thread where Pixel Perfect had like 2,000 Steam awards, but I did find another one he posted a couple of days ago, and I regret to inform you that he was banned. And yeah, it's pretty much the same. It's pretty much the same as before. I also just want to note that this guy, nice, this is his profile. He has 105 pages of comments on his profile, 629 comments, either praising him for being a quality troll or dunking on him for being a clown. He was too powerful. Wrath of Corn with a new thread titled, everyone agrees LGHD TV cancellation, and then a wall of text calling it heresy, telling them to go cry on Reddit and quote unquote cancel yourself. Mr. Supper replies, I'm guessing you don't bath often. 2 jesters and a saucy. Now, I'm not gonna read Scow's whole wall of text here, but I will note that with this thread, he got over 1,000 jesters and probably about another 70 Steam awards. The thread's titled, serious replies only, female Astartes / representation. If you jester react, you are stupid. Form an actual argument and reply so we can discuss the issue. And then a wall of text that we've read 20 times already before. First reply is fire. He writes Drump 2024. Oh my god, and he just kicked the hornet's nest. Like, look at this. This thread is alive. 127 pages. Damn near 2,000 comments on this. Yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and close that and move on to the next one. If you want a good game, ... you should petition to get female Marines into the game. Simple as. End of discussion. No, I'm not a tourist, and my girlfriend refuses to play the game with me without a female space marine. I'm not a tourist, he says. He does not own the game, by the way. 333 is trying to get his Steam points without paying for them. The Silent King replies, boring AF. 333 replies to that and says, yeah, playing with NPCs is pretty boring. I want to play with my girlfriend, so it's kinda at a crossroads. I have a girlfriend, by the way, guys. I have a girlfriend. G9K Rubicon replies, nobody cares. We won't let you make the game about you again. You had Concord and refused to play it. You, females, and LGTV people. You don't care for games. You care for making it about yourselves, and then you leave, spoiling it for all the whole normal community. I am glad your girlfriend won't play it. Cheers. Big J writes, get the game first. Dark Lord 21 writes, you are a tourist and a clown and a heretic, and time to send you to the warp. Bye-bye. Belmont writes, if your girlfriend refuses to play a game just for the simple reason of not being able to self-insert, you have bigger problems in your relationship than a video game. Narcissism 101. 333 replies to Rubicon. He writes, do you have a girlfriend? Do you know how hard it is to get a girlfriend into gaming or game with you? You don't? Then don't contribute your fan fiction onto my life. Thank you. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good line that he's taking. I like it. I like where your head's at, 333. You're gonna make it, bud. Shiny Rayquaza writes, nice bait level 0 account. No award from me. Edit. Also doesn't own the game on top of that, so you won't even play with you by your own logic. Varen writes, heretic moron. We will find you and send a kill team of Inquisitor to purify you. 333 writes, I have level 111, just letting you know, which is higher than yours. Actually, it's 113, which is 42 levels higher than you. Let that sink in. And somebody reacted with a wholesome. 333 replies to Varen. He says, reported for istophobia. 333 double post replies to Belmont. He says, you don't know her. Please don't talk like you do. You're coming off as a Twitter user. She's not shallow. She just said it comes off as way too masculine as she's forced to play some ugly, fatty marine. Her words. All right, I see you, 333. You're putting in the effort now. It started off slow, but I like where you're going with this. Monk writes, with multiple game bans on record, I'm guessing even with female space marines, your girlfriend, Love Doll, still won't join you. 333 replies, I'm a software developer. Monk replies to 333, says, that just increases the likelihood of what I said being true and doesn't counter it in the slightest. Lol. Kagumo 11011111 writes, all this bad LG TVs, man. Better get an Apple TV. Hey, Psychic Pebbles is here. He writes, my girlfriend plays Stardew with me, but I had issues getting her to enjoy this game. She laughed and told me to get a life, which I honestly agree. This game is made for neckbeards or people who are physically out of shape. Thankfully, I've started to go to the gym, so I'm happy. Thanks for sharing, Psychic Pebbles. 333, now spamming his own thread, writes, just because you're a 1 out of 10 on a look scale doesn't mean I am. I could easily pass as David Lade, a famous fitness influencer. Take your beer gut belly and slap it like a seal. Princess Luna writes, not original bait, no awards. 333 replies, go look at horses, you creep. Also reported for being a... I'm not saying that. Princess Luna replies, says, and yes, dump that stupid girlfriend who refuses. 333 replies right away. He says, I won't take relationship advice from someone who finds 2D ponies attractive. Femboy 420 writes, to the people giving Jester awards, you are the problem, not OP. Ignore and move on. Tengen writes, please don't feed the clown collectors. Their stance and girlfriend are fictional. 333 replies, literally add me on Instagram if you have an issue. Concord mentioned. Euromanjack says, you basically have one in Concord, so go play that. And everybody just loves bringing up Concord. They just want to keep dancing on its grave, which I'll admit is fun. But it's like every thread, Concord gets brought up. It's like, by the way, guys, you remember Concord? It's like, yes, I do. All right, this is boring now. Next thread, we're gonna find one more thread, just a nice short blurb, and then I'm gonna end the video. So we got one more thread. Who is gonna get the last word? All right, we'll give Water the last word. Nobody's gestured him yet. yet, but he's trying to get in on that Steam Point action. Water with a new thread titled Poor Diversity, Offensive Theme All Around. Not sure why this game is allowed on Steam. It's hugely offensive and lacks the diversity and inclusion which is required by law in most states now for entertainment such as this. I'm severely disappointed in not only the lack of representation by but also women. It's all entitled white men SMH. Internet People Suck writes, may you one day find peace in life. Stay safe, smiley face. Perverious writes, that's gotta be the worst crafted bait of them all. George Floyd replies, GTFO, rage bait. No one cares about your hearted opinion. None so grim replying to the bait post in earnest. All right, we'll give Wick the last word, then we're gonna end the video. He writes, OP should play Concord. All right, well, hopefully you guys had some fun. I think the Warhammer forums are milk dry at this point. The huge clown farm, I think, is over, but it was fun while it lasted. Sure was. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.